First lesson I learned in prison, don't trust nobody. You know what I'm saying? Trust yourself. Trust yourself.
Sheff G wired his girl 100 racks from prison as a loyalty bonus. Weeks later, unfollowed, photos scrubbed, and she's posting, "I'm single by choice." Now there's talk of leaked footage, and bro can't say a word from behind bars. Here's how it all fell apart. The 100K loyalty bonus. Now look, if you've been anywhere on the internet this past week, you already know the street's been talking. And when I say talking, I mean talking.
It's always gonna be tough, you know what I'm saying? That's something very hard to prepare for.
See, in October 2025, Sheff G officially turned himself in to begin serving his 5-year prison sentence after pleading guilty to attempted murder and conspiracy charges tied to a massive gang indictment out of Brooklyn. And for anybody who's ever had somebody close to them locked up, you know what that first stretch feels like. The calls get scheduled, the visits get planned, the letters start going back and forth. It's a whole different kind of relationship, one that's built entirely on trust, patience, and loyalty. And both people gotta be all the way in, because the second one of them starts wavering, the whole thing crumbles like a house of cards in a windstorm. Now, about a month into his bid, November 2025, something wild happened. During a prison visit, Sheff G wired foreign Gael $100,000. Let that marinate for a second. $100,000. Not 20 racks, not 50. A full 6 figures. Cash money. Straight wire transfer from behind bars. Now think about what that means logistically. This man had to coordinate this whole thing from prison. He had to make calls, set it up through whatever channels he had access to, and trust that this money was going to the right person for the right reasons. And screenshots of that transaction, showing the pending $100,000 dated November 12th, 2025, started circulating all over social media like wildfire. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. And the screenshot was clear as day. There was no disputing it. The money was real. The transfer was real. The question everybody had was simple. Why? Now the internet being the internet, people had all kinds of reactions to this. Some folks thought it was the most romantic stand-up thing a man could do from behind bars. Like, this dude really loves his girl that much that he's breaking her off 100 bands as a thank you for holding him down. That's real love right there, right? That's a man who values loyalty above everything else and is willing to put his money where his mouth is, literally. Reports described it as a loyalty bonus, a gesture of appreciation for his girlfriend Kyla, sticking by him during his incarceration, a reward for riding when most people would have dipped. But then there was the other side. And I'm not gonna lie, the other side was loud, way louder actually. People were in the comments like, bro, just set her up for a whole new life with somebody else. Others were saying, she did the race with that money SMH. Folks were calling Sheff G everything from generous to naive to straight up simping. And look, when you got 100 racks leaving your account while you sitting in a cell with absolutely zero ability to monitor what's happening on the outside, that is a risk, a massive one. You gotta trust that person with your life at that point, with your finances, with your reputation, with your heart. And for a few weeks, everything seemed cool. No drama, no noise, just two people apparently figuring out how to navigate this long distance, locked up versus free dynamic that has broken stronger couples than them. But then the signs started showing. By late January, early February 2026, people on the internet started noticing something was off. Sheff G and foreign Gael had unfollowed each other on Instagram. Joint photos that used to be all over both their pages, gone, scrubbed clean, deleted like they never existed. And in the social media age, fam, we all know what that means. That's not just cleaning up your page. That's a statement. That's a declaration. That's somebody, or both somebodies, saying, we done. Yahoo Entertainment, Hot 97, and multiple media outlets picked up on the digital breadcrumbs and started running the story. Sheff G and his girlfriend Foreign Gael have allegedly broken up, weeks after the rapper wired her $100,000 from prison. Social media amplified it even further, with reaction videos popping up on TikTok, X, and YouTube left and right. Bloggers were having a field day. Comment sections turned into full-blown courtrooms, with people playing judge, jury, and executioner on both sides of the argument. And through all of this, Kyla, Foreign Gael, was catching absolute heat from the public. People were in her DMs. People were in her comments. People were tagging her, questioning her, calling her every name you can think of. And eventually, she responded, not with a long explanation, not with a video breaking everything down, just a couple of statements on what appeared to be Instagram stories, and they said exactly this: don't associate me with any man. I'm single by choice for reasons that doesn't concern the miserable. And I'm not interested in anybody RN either, so stop with the DMs. Now on the surface, those statements sound like a woman asserting her independence. I'm single by choice. Don't associate me with any man. Cool. That's empowerment. That's self-assurance. But the timing of it all, coming weeks weeks after this man just blessed you with 6 figures from prison, that's what had the internet going absolutely nuclear. That's what had people losing their minds in every comment section from here to the West Coast. The discourse was split right down the middle. Some people were sympathizing with Kyla, saying, "Y'all don't know what it's like to wait for somebody doing a 5-year bid. That's not easy." And that's a fair point. Incarceration puts an unbearable strain on relationships, and not everybody is built for that kind of sacrifice. But others were far less forgiving. Comments floated around like, "Y'all gotta stop letting these escorts get over on y'all," and people were straight up labeling Sheff G's gesture as simping. And this wasn't just anonymous trolls. These were real hip-hop pages, verified bloggers, and media personalities all weighing in with the same sentiment. Bro got played. And what made this even more interesting, and honestly, what made it more painful for people who were rooting for Sheff G, was the fact that this wasn't the first time loyalty had been questioned in this relationship. See, back in August 2025, literally 24 hours before Sheff G was supposed to turn himself in for sentencing, cheating allegations surfaced against foreign guy Al. The timing alone was diabolical, right? This man is about to walk into a courtroom knowing he's gonna leave in handcuffs, about to spend the next 5 years away from his daughter, away from his career, away from everything he's built. And the night before, the whole internet is buzzing about his girl allegedly stepping out on him. She denied it at the time, calling the claims basically fake, and said they were based on old texts and internet gossip. And at the time, most people gave her the benefit of the doubt. The receipts people were passing around looked shaky at best. Old screenshots, out of context messages, the usual internet detective work that's wrong half the time. So people let it go. But now, with all this happening, with the unfollows, the deleted photos, the "I'm single by choice" posts, people were looking back at those August allegations with a whole new set of eyes. They were re-examining every little detail, every screenshot, every comment she ever left, every story she ever posted, trying to piece together a timeline that confirmed what they already suspected. And see, that's the thing about the internet. Once the narrative shifts, once people decide they know what happened, it doesn't matter what the actual truth is anymore. The story becomes the story. The memes become the evidence. The jokes become the verdict. And for foreign guy Al, the verdict from a large portion of the internet was already in. She took the bag and bounced. Whether that's fair or not, whether that's accurate or not, that's the narrative that stuck. And once a narrative sticks in hip-hop, it's damn near impossible to shake it off. Just ask anybody who's ever been labeled disloyal in these streets. That tag follows you forever. Now, to really understand why all of this cuts so deep, why the culture is this invested, why people are this angry, you gotta understand who Sheff G actually is and what he went through to get here. Because this ain't just some random rapper. This is one of the founders of Brooklyn Drill. And his story, it's as heavy as it gets. The come up, the case, and the girl who held him down. Sheff G, government name Michael Kyle Williams, was born on September 23rd, 1998, out in Brooklyn, New York. Flatbush, to be specific. Now, if you know anything about Flatbush, you know that neighborhood don't play. It's one of them places where your block determines your whole life trajectory before you even old enough to understand what's going on. Sheff grew up in the thick of it, raised by a Trinidadian mother and a Haitian father in a culturally rich but rough environment. He was influenced early on by the sounds of legends like the Notorious B.I.G. and the raw energy coming out of Chicago's drill scene. Cats like Chief Keef and Lil Bibby had a massive impact on his style, and by the time this kid was just 12 years old, he was already affiliated with the 83 Gangsta Crips, also known as the 8 Trey Crips. That's not a game. That's not something you just casually sign up for. In certain parts of Brooklyn, though, that's just what happens. You either with the gang on your block, or you the one they checking for. Now let me paint that picture for you even clearer, because a lot of people hear gang affiliated at 12, and they think it's just some kid trying to be tough. Nah, it's way deeper than that. In neighborhoods like Flatbush, the gang is the neighborhood. The guys on your block, the dudes you walk to the corner store with, the older homies who look out for you when your parents are at work, that's the set. You don't fill out an application, you don't get a membership card, you just are. And Sheff himself talked about it openly. In his Fox 5 exclusive interview, the man broke it down plainly.
It's like a family, you know what I'm saying? It's really hard to not be part of certain things in the neighborhood as you're growing up, you know what I'm saying? You automatically be involved with certain things.
And that involvement came with consequences real fast. He was arrested for fighting in 2014 at age 15, and then caught a felony gun charge in 2015 that sent him away for 2 years. 2 whole years behind bars as a teenager. But see, that's the thing about Sheff. Every time he got knocked down, he came back swinging harder. When he finally got released in 2017, he didn't waste no time. He dropped No Suburban, a scathing diss track responding to to 22 G's Suburban, and that record went absolutely viral. Millions and millions of views. It was the shot heard around Brooklyn, and just like that, Sheff G was a household name in the drill scene. He wasn't just rapping about the streets, he was the streets, and the streets were rapping back. The beef with 22 G's, a Gangster Disciples-affiliated rapper, became a defining chapter in Brooklyn drill lore, mirroring the real Crips versus GD's tensions that had been simmering in those Brooklyn blocks for years. This wasn't manufactured rap beef for clout. This was real tension being expressed through music, and it resonated with everybody who understood what was really going on behind the bars and the beats. He went on to found Winner's Circle Entertainment in 2019, dropped projects like The Unlucky Luxy Kid, and followed it up with One and Only in 2020, which gave us the gold certified No Suburban Pant 2. Then came the gold certified Tiptoe with Sleepy Hollow, a record that sampled Tiny Tim of all people and still went crazy. He was building something real out here. Features with Polo G, A Boogie Wit Da Hoodie, PVO Foreign, King Von. This man was connected with the biggest names in the game. The bag was getting bigger, the fan base was expanding, and for a minute there, it looked like Sheff G was about to be one of those cats who made it all the way out the mud. But then there was that other side of the coin. Because while the music was booming, the tours were selling out, and the checks were clearing, the feds were watching. And they weren't just casually keeping an eye on things, they were building a case. A 4-year investigation involving 22 teams from the NYPD Gun Violence Suppression Division and warrant squads. They had surveillance footage, they had text messages, they had social media posts, they even had his own lyrics being used as evidence against him. And when it all came crashing down in May of 2023, Sheff G got hit with a massive indictment, a 140-count case naming him and 31 other alleged members of the 8 Trey Crips and the 9 Ways gang. We talking attempted murder, conspiracy, multiple shootings across Brooklyn. Prosecutors straight up called him a gangland godfather, alleging that he used his rap earnings to fund gang violence, paying for hits, rewarding shooters with cash and jewelry, and even treating gang members to steak dinners at Brooklyn Chop House after a 2020 mass shooting that killed 23-year-old Theodore Sr. and injured 5 bystanders. One investigator was quoted saying, "If Sheff said something, it happened. A simple text, we gotta get a big one. That simple text created a war. That's heavy. That's not just rap beef. That's real life with real consequences for real people." Now, through all of this chaos, the indictments, the court dates, the surveillance tapes, the constant scrutiny, there was one person who stayed right by his side. One woman who held this man down when everybody else in the world was looking at him like a villain. And that woman was Foreign Gayal, real name Kyla Lauren. Kyla is a New York-based model, makeup artist, and influencer of Dominican and Italian heritage. She runs beauty accounts. She's got over 82,000 followers on Instagram, and she's been doing her own thing independently for a minute. But the way she and Sheff connected, that's the part that makes all of this so much more painful to look at now. See, Sheff G told the story himself. He was scrolling through Instagram one day, saw her, and did what any real one would do. He slid in her DMs, but he didn't come with no long paragraph, no smooth talk, no corny pickup line. Nah, this man just typed 2 letters.
This is what I remember, you feel me? So boom, scrolling on the gram. Look, I'm scrolling on the gram one day, you feel me? I see her. And I remember I didn't want to hit her up on some, you feel me, on some hot eyes or send no, you know, some regular shit. So I just say, yo.
You like, what, you gonna send her some shit?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, like some shit everybody else ain't send her. So I just say, yo, on some New York shit, you feel me? And look, Nada, she hit me back. I know she probably was thinking like, what the f? So she hit me back like, yo. It was over after that.
Yo, that's it. That's all it took. And from that one word, a whole love story was born. They started talking, they started dating, they moved in together, and in October of 2020, they welcomed a daughter, Milani Sky Williams. Sheff G was on record calling Kyla his heart and his other half, crediting her with making him a better man, saying she changed his whole perspective on life. And you could tell the man meant it, because in that same Rap TV interview, when they asked about fatherhood, he got real.
First lesson that fatherhood taught me, first of all, shout out to my baby girl. I know you're gonna watch this. Love you, baby. Fatherhood taught me that life is precious, you heard? And you really gotta be there for your kids. You can't just, money ain't everything, you heard? It's the emotional support too. So make sure if you're a father and you get into the bag, make sure you did. Emotional support is needed, you heard? especially when you have a baby girl.
Man, that right there, that's a father talking from the heart. That's a man who clearly loved his daughter and loved the woman who gave her to him. So when the hammer finally came down in March of 2025 and Sheff G pleaded guilty to 2 counts of attempted murder and conspiracy, receiving a 5-year sentence down from the 20 years prosecutors were pushing for, everybody assumed Kyla was going to be right there waiting. 5 years is a long time, no doubt. But this was the same woman who stood by him through the entire indictment, through the bail hearings, through all the noise. If anybody was gonna ride, it was her. She was the one who was supposed to be different, the one everybody pointed to and said, nah, she's solid, she's not going anywhere. And now you understand why that $100,000 wire transfer and everything that came after it has the entire culture in shambles, because it wasn't just a breakup, it was the collapse of what people thought was one of the realest love stories in the drill scene. And what came next, that's where things got even darker. What this means for Sheff G. Now here's where things get really murky, and I want to be completely transparent with y'all because that's how we do it on this channel. The title of this video references chilling footage allegedly leaked by foreign Gael after the breakup. And listen, the internet has been buzzing about this. Social media posts, blog headlines, reaction videos, everybody's been running with this narrative like it's a confirmed fact. But here's the reality. Extensive searches across web sources, X, Instagram profiles, and related videos reveal no substantiated evidence of any actual footage being released by foreign Gael. Let me say that again for the people in the back. As of right now, no verified, confirmed, legitimate footage has surfaced that can be traced back to her. Now, does that mean nothing happened behind the scenes? Not necessarily. It's entirely possible that content was shared privately, or in group chats, or on platforms that are harder to track. The internet moves fast, and things get deleted, reposted, and distorted before anybody can even verify what's real. But what we can say, based on what's publicly available and documented, is that the chilling footage narrative appears to stem from sensationalized gossip and viral speculation rather than any confirmed leak. What died go viral were the screenshots of the $100,000 wire transfer and the text-based social media posts from Kyla, which are static images, not video content. So why does this matter? Because in hip-hop culture, reputation is everything. And right now, whether the footage exists or not, the narrative exists. And for a man sitting in a prison cell with 4+ years still left on his sentence, that narrative is devastating. People are already in the comments saying, bruh started her a whole new life for somebody else. Others are joking, well guess this just boosts Sheff G by 1000x. He about to have a lot of pen girls writing. It's become entertainment, memes, punchlines, content for reaction channels. But behind the memes and the jokes, there's a real human being dealing with real heartbreak in a place where you can't even grieve properly. You can't cry in your room, you can't call your homies at 2 a.m., you can't go for a drive and clear your head. You're just there with your thoughts and the noise from the outside world seeping in through whatever cracks it can find. And when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, this situation fits into a pattern we've seen over and over in hip-hop. Incarceration breaks relationships. It just does. We saw it with Gucci Mane and his ex before Keisha Cole came along. We've seen it with countless other rappers who went away and came back to find their whole world different. Sheff G's case echoes the broader conversation happening in the culture about loyalty, about what we expect from women when their men get locked up, and about the fairness of those expectations. Because let's keep it a buck. 5 years is a long time. That's holidays missed, birthdays missed, your daughter growing up without you there for the day-to-day, and asking somebody to put their entire life on pause for half a decade. That's a monumental ask, even if love is there. And it's not just the relationship stuff. There are also unverified rumors floating around on social media that Sheff G's sentence might be extended to 2029 due to uncredited prior time served. Now, to be clear, official reports confirm the standard 5-year term starting in 2025, and there's no verified legal documentation supporting any extension. But you know how the rumor mill works. Once that story hit Facebook and Threads, people started running with it as if it was fact, and some even speculated that the potential extension was what actually caused the breakup in the first place. Like Kyla found out it might not be 5 years, but closer to 7 or 8, and decided she wasn't willing to wait that long. But again, that's speculation. That's the internet doing what the internet does. What we do know for certain is this. As of right now, in February 2026, neither Sheff G nor foreign Gael has officially confirmed the breakup. Everything we've been discussing is based on the digital evidence, the unfollows, the deleted photos, her statements about being single, and the public reactions to those clues. It's possible they had a private conversation and decided to part ways amicably. It's possible it was messy behind closed doors. It's possible they might even reconcile down the line. We simply don't know. What we do know is that Sheff Sheff G was a man who was actively trying to do better. Say what you want about his past, gang charges, the alleged orchestration of violence, the whole RICO case. The man was speaking out about change. He spoke at the United Nations about gun violence. He addressed youth groups. He told kids in his Fox 5 interview.
We doing everything we're supposed to do. I just want the kids and I want the youth to see the growth and the development with me and my label and all my peers around me.
And even in his Rap TV interview, when he talked about prison, he kept it 1,000.
First lesson I learned in prison, don't trust nobody. You know what I'm saying? Trust yourself. Trust yourself.
Don't trust nobody. Trust yourself. Man, I wonder how those words hit different for him right now. Sitting in that cell, knowing that the one person he trusted more than anybody in the world, the mother of his child, the woman he called his heart and his other half, the woman he just blessed with $100,000, might not be the person he thought she was. Or maybe she is that person, and the weight of the situation just became too much to carry. Either way, those 4 words from that interview are ringing louder than ever. And you know what else makes this whole thing even more layered? Sheff G had been actively working on his image before he went in. This wasn't a man who was content being known only as a street figure. Before he turned himself in, he spoke out against gun violence to officials at the United Nations, addressed state legislative offices, and even mentored youth. He was trying to be the example of somebody who came from the absolute bottom and was choosing a different path. He even appeared at a Donald Trump rally in the Bronx in May 2024, which was controversial in its own right. People called it opportunistic, others said it was authentic. But the point is, the man was out here trying to build a different narrative for himself. And now all anybody's talking about is the $100,000 and the breakup. That's the only story that matters to the internet right now. All that growth, all that effort, all that change, overshadowed by relationship drama. Look, at the end of the day, this whole situation is a cautionary tale on multiple levels. It's a cautionary tale about sending large sums of money when you're not in a position to oversee your own affairs. It's a cautionary tale about the pressures of incarceration on relationships and the impossible expectations we sometimes place on people. It's a cautionary tale about how fast the internet can turn your personal heartbreak into public content, into entertainment for millions of strangers who don't know you, don't care about you, and will forget about your pain the second the next story drops. And for Sheff G specifically, it's another chapter in a life that's been full of highs and lows, from the block to the studio, from platinum records to prison cells, and now from love to loss. Whether this alleged footage ever surfaces or not, the damage to the narrative has already been done. The court of public opinion has already rendered its verdict. Multiple verdicts, actually, depending on which side of the internet you're on. And for a man doing a nickel behind bars with nothing but time, his thoughts, and whatever updates trickle in from the outside world, that's gotta be one of the hardest things in the world to process. You can't fight narratives from a cell. You can't correct misinformation from a prison phone. All you can do is wait, reflect, and hope that when you finally come home, the truth, whatever it is, speaks for itself. Sheff G's story is far from over. He's still got years left on his sentence. He's still got a daughter who loves him. He's still got music in him. And if history has taught us anything about this man, it's that he knows how to come back from the lowest of lows. Whether that comeback includes reconciliation with Kyla or a completely new chapter remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, when Sheff G finally walks out of those prison doors, the world he comes back to is going to look very different from the one he left behind. We'll keep y'all updated as this story develops. But until then, check out our other videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. Peace.